Imagine Earth without the moon. No tides pulling the seas. No silver glow in the night sky. No steady rhythm marking our months. At first, it might sound like a small change. After all, the sun still rises, the Earth still spins, but without the moon, the planet we know might never have become a home for life at all. This is the story of how a silent, gray companion shaped everything we are, and how its quiet influence continues to keep us alive. 4.5 billion years ago, the young Earth was chaos, molten rock, endless storms, and an unstable orbit. Then came the impact. A Mars-sized object, Theia, slammed into Earth with unimaginable force. The collision vaporized rock, blasting molten debris into space. Over time, gravity gathered that debris into a sphere, our moon. This was no gentle birth. The moon emerged from violence, yet it became a stabilizing presence for the battered Earth. Without the moon, Earth's axis, the invisible line we spin around, would wobble wildly over millions of years. That wobble would swing climates from extremes, ice covering the tropics, then unbearable heat at the poles. The moon's gravity acts like a hand on a spinning top, keeping Earth's tilt steady at about 23.5 degrees. That stability meant seasons could be predictable, climates could be stable, and life could adapt and flourish. The moon pulls on Earth's oceans, creating tides. At first, this might seem like just a pretty phenomenon. Waves lapping higher, boats rising and falling. But in Earth's early history, tides were the perfect mixing machine. They created shallow tidal pools, where water could evaporate and concentrate chemicals, giving primitive life the perfect little laboratories to evolve. Without tides, early evolution might have been far slower, or might not have happened at all. The moon's monthly cycle gave early humans, and even pre-human life, a sense of rhythm. Animals timed migrations, breeding, and hunting to the moon's phases. Ancient people used it to track time long before written calendars. Our biology still carries hints of that lunar rhythm, from the way corals spawn under a full moon to the subtle shifts in human sleep patterns during its phases. Every story has an origin, and the moon's begins not with quiet silver light, but with violence beyond imagining. 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was still young. Its surface was a seething ocean of molten rock. Its skies were thick with choking gases. And somewhere in the dark, another planet, Theia, was on a collision course with us. Theia wasn't small. It was roughly the size of Mars, and when it struck, it hit with a force so great it nearly tore the Earth apart. Mountains of vaporized rock were thrown into space. The planet shook with energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs. And for a brief moment, Earth's surface was a hellish furnace, glowing with liquid fire. But out of that unimaginable destruction, something beautiful happened. The debris from the collision began to gather, pulled together by gravity. It formed a glowing ring around Earth, a halo of molten rock circling our wounded planet. And over weeks, months, perhaps years, this ring condensed into a single sphere. Our moon. It has been with us ever since, circling faithfully, a reminder that even catastrophe can give birth to something essential. It's easy to think of Earth as stable. The seasons come and go. The poles remain where they are. The sun rises and sets with a steady rhythm. But that stability is not guaranteed. A planet's spin axis, the imaginary line around which it rotates, can wobble wildly without an anchor. Mars, for example, tips and sways dramatically over millions of years, changing its climate from ice age to scorching heat. Earth would likely suffer the same fate, if not for the Moon. The Moon's gravity acts like a hand holding Earth steady, limiting the tilt of our axis to a gentle 23.5 degrees. That tilt is the reason we have predictable seasons and why Earth has enjoyed long stretches of climate stability. Without the Moon, the poles might wander, the tropics might freeze, and the delicate balance that allows forests, oceans, and civilizations to thrive could collapse. We owe our stability to that silent sphere in the sky, an invisible hand always steadying the spinning world beneath our feet. Long before forests swayed in the wind or birds sang under moonlight, the Earth was a blue and barren ocean world. No continents teeming with green, no animals to roam the land, just water stretching as far as the eye could imagine. And in that ancient sea, something was happening, something small, so small it could not be seen without a microscope. The very first building blocks of life were assembling. But life, even in its earliest form, needs movement. It needs places where chemicals can meet, mix, and react. And for that, the Earth needed tides. The Moon, with its steady pull of gravity, became the great stirrer of Earth's oceans. Every day it tugged on the waters, drawing them upward to create high tides, then letting them fall away. This constant ebb and flow moved nutrients across the planet, carrying minerals from the deep, spreading them along shallow coastlines and creating tidal pools where water would trap, warm, and evaporate. Those tidal pools may have been the first great laboratories of life. Here, simple molecules bumped into one another again and again, eventually forming more complex chains, chains that could copy themselves, store information, and, over unimaginable stretches of time, become the very first living cells. Without the Moon's pull, those oceans might have been too still, too uniform, too lifeless. It's possible that life as we know it was born in the gentle, rocking rhythm of the Moon's tides. Before humans learned to measure time with gears, sand, and atomic pulses, before even plants learned to track the length of the day, the Moon was Earth's first great clock. Its phases, from new to crescent, half to full, repeat with quiet regularity, a cycle of about 29.5 days. For early life, this provided a natural rhythm. Many of Earth's first creatures, from microscopic plankton to ancient corals, began to live in sync with the Moon's light and pull. Some spawned only on certain moonlit nights. Others rose and fell with the tides, feeding when the water brought in nutrients and hiding when it retreated. Even now, the Moon's quiet metronome guides life on Earth. Sea turtles still crawl ashore during full moons to lay their eggs. Certain fish breed during specific lunar phases. Coral reefs bloom like underwater fireworks on moonlit nights. And perhaps even our own sense of time, our bodies' hidden clocks, carry an echo of this ancient lunar rhythm. Some studies suggest that humans sleep slightly differently during full moons, even without seeing the light directly. It is as if our biology remembers that the moon once told all living things when to move, when to rest, when to begin anew. If you could step into a time machine and travel back billions of years, you would find the Earth spinning far faster than it does today. A day would last only 5 or 6 hours. Sunrise and sunset would come and go in a dizzying rush, and the winds would howl at incredible speeds as the atmosphere raced to keep up with the planet's spin. This was no gentle world for life to grow. The pace was too fast, the environment too unstable. But the moon, newly formed from that ancient collision, began to slow Earth down. Through a process called tidal braking, the moon's gravity pulled on Earth's oceans, creating a subtle drag. Over millions of years, this drag transferred energy from Earth's rotation into the moon's orbit, causing Earth's spin to slow and the moon to drift farther away. The result? Days became longer. The violent winds calmed. Temperatures began to even out between day and night. Life had more time, literally more hours in the day to feed, grow, and evolve. And though we don't feel it, this process is still happening. Every year, the moon drifts about 3.8 centimeters farther from us, and our days grow a fraction of a second longer. The moon has been, in a very real sense, our cosmic timekeeper, slowing Earth's frantic spin into a rhythm life could survive in. The early solar system was a dangerous place. Asteroids and comets roamed freely, colliding with planets in fiery impacts that could wipe away entire oceans and atmospheres. Earth, too, was under siege. But the moon, large, solid, and always in orbit around us, helped take some of those blows. Its surface tells the story. Millions of impact craters, frozen scars from the ancient bombardment. Some of those objects might have been headed for Earth if the moon hadn't intercepted them first. While the moon is too small to be a perfect shield, its gravitational presence does alter the paths of incoming objects. It has likely prevented countless smaller impacts over billions of years, and in the early days, it may have spared Earth from collisions that could have erased the fragile beginnings of life. Even today, when a meteor strikes the moon, we are reminded of its quiet role as our lookout, absorbing danger so Earth can keep breathing. In a way, the moon is like a watchful elder sibling. It cannot protect us from everything, but it stands between us and the dark more often than we realize. For billions of years, life existed only in the sea. The oceans were safe, familiar, and protective, a shield against the harsh, dry air and the blazing sun above. But eventually, some creatures began to venture out. They crawled from tidal pools onto damp beaches, their fins turning into primitive limbs, their gills beginning to work alongside new lungs. It was the start of a great migration, life learning to live on land. In those fragile early days, light mattered, and the moon provided just enough of it. On bright, moonlit nights, predators could hunt more easily along the shores. Prey animals could spot danger in time to escape. The moon's gentle illumination made the coastline a place of activity and exploration, rather than total darkness. Over time, these rhythms became embedded in biology. Many land animals still adjust their behavior based on moonlight. Some forage only under the full moon. Others hide in its brightness to avoid being seen. Even plants, though they do not sleep in the way animals do, sense the subtle shift in light during a full moon. Some flower more intensely. Others adjust the timing of opening and closing their blooms. In this way, the moon's light was more than just a backdrop. It was part of the stage itself, guiding life as it learned to take its first steps out of the sea and into the wide, waiting world. The moon has been with humanity since our very beginning, long before cities, before agriculture, before even spoken language as we know it. Humans looked up and saw the same glowing disk that we see tonight. To our ancestors, the moon was not a rock in space. It was a companion, a calendar, a god, a mirror of the human spirit. Its steady phases told early farmers when to plant and harvest. Its light guided hunters and travelers through the night. Its cycles inspired myths of birth, death, and rebirth. In some cultures, the moon was seen as a goddess, gentle, nurturing, yet powerful. In others, it was a great eye watching over the world. The moon also became humanity's first real link to the wider universe. Unlike the stars, which seemed unreachable and eternal, the moon looked close enough to touch. And so, generation after generation, we dreamed of visiting it. That dream became reality in 1969, when human footprints pressed into lunar dust for the first time. The moon, once only a mystery in the sky, had become a place we could stand upon. And yet, even now, it remains a symbol, a presence both ancient and eternal, a reminder that we are part of a larger cosmic story. We often think of climate as something shaped by the sun, by oceans, by the air we breathe. But in the deep rhythms of geological time, the moon has been part of that story too. Its steady gravitational pull keeps Earth's axis tilted at about 23.5 degrees. This tilt is what gives us our seasons, and more importantly, keeps them predictable. Without the moon, that tilt could swing wildly. Imagine a world where one century sees the poles bathed in endless sunlight, melting ice into raging seas, and the next sees them locked in darkness, oceans frozen solid. The moon has prevented those extremes. It keeps Earth's wobble small, just enough to give us gentle cycles like ice ages and interglacial periods, but not enough to tear ecosystems apart. Over millions of years, this stability has been a quiet cradle for life. Forests have grown and regrown. Species have adapted and thrived, confident in a climate that changes slowly enough for them to keep pace. We often think of Earth as something shaped by the sun, by oceans, by the air we breathe. But in the deep rhythms of geological time, the moon has been part of that story too. Every year, the moon drifts away from us, about 3.8 centimeters farther into space. It's a tiny distance, smaller than the width of your hand, but over millions of years, it adds up. As the moon retreats, its grip on our tides will loosen. High tides will become lower. The mixing of ocean waters will slow, changing the way nutrients are carried across the seas, and the length of Earth's day will keep increasing, ever so slightly, as the moon continues to take energy from our spin. Billions of years from now, a strange thing will happen. Earth's rotation will slow so much that one side will always face the moon, locked together in eternal gaze. The moon will no longer drift away. It will have reached its final distance. By then, our sun will be hotter and larger, and life as we know it may have already faded away. But the moon will still be there, circling in silence, a companion to the very end. It is humbling to think, from its fiery birth in the chaos of early Earth to its slow farewell across the ages, the moon has been both architect and witness to our entire story. High above us, invisible but vital, is a shimmering force field, Earth's magnetic field. It shields us from the constant stream of charged particles pouring from the sun in the solar wind. Without it, these particles could strip away our atmosphere, turning Earth into a barren wasteland like Mars. For much of Earth's history, this magnetic shield has been powered by the churning motion of molten iron deep within our planet's core. But in Earth's earliest days, this field may have been weaker and more vulnerable to collapse. Some scientists believe the moon helped keep it alive. When the moon first formed, it orbited much closer to Earth, so close that its gravitational pull stirred our planet's interior, just as it stirs the oceans today. This stirring may have helped keep Earth's core moving, strengthening the magnetic field and ensuring that our fragile atmosphere was not lost to space. Even if this effect lasted only for the planet's youth, it may have been enough to protect the earliest life from deadly solar radiation. In this way, the moon's role was not just to light our nights or guide our tides, but to hold up a shield over the whole planet when it needed it most. For billions of years, the moon's role was purely natural, shaping tides, stabilizing our tilt, guarding against chaos. But now, as we look outward beyond our atmosphere, the moon may once again be key to life's future. It is the closest world to Earth, only 3 days away by spacecraft. Its surface holds frozen water hidden in shadowed craters, a resource that could be turned into drinking water, oxygen, or even rocket fuel. NASA and other space agencies dream of building a permanent base there, a place where humans can learn to live away from Earth before venturing further, to Mars, and perhaps beyond. In this way, the moon may become what it has always been, a bridge. Once, it bridged the chaos of the early Earth to the stability needed for life. Soon, it may bridge our small blue planet to the vast, waiting expanse of the cosmos. When we finally set sail into deep space, it will be under the same pale light that once guided ancient fish onto land and early humans through the dark. The moon has always led the way. Even though modern life often hides the moon from our eyes, with streetlights, glowing screens, and busy nights indoors, our bodies may still carry echoes of its pull. For much of human history, our ancestors lived in direct rhythm with the moon's cycles. Its light was the only illumination after sunset, guiding nighttime activities, marking the passing weeks. Some studies suggest our sleep patterns still shift with the moon's phases. On nights near the full moon, people may sleep a little less deeply and fall asleep a bit later, even in rooms where they cannot see the moon at all. It's as though our internal clocks remember. There are also intriguing parallels between the moon's 29.5-day cycle and the human menstrual cycle, leading some anthropologists to suggest that our reproductive timing in the distant past might have been synchronized with lunar light. Fishermen have long known that the moon can subtly influence animal behavior. Fish feed more under certain phases. Crustaceans rise with particular tides. It's likely that humans, too, once adapted their hunting, gathering, and migration patterns to lunar rhythms. Even now, many cultures plan celebrations, ceremonies, and even agricultural planting based on the moon's phases. Though our cities hum with electric light, some part of us is still tuned to that ancient silver metronome in the sky. If the sun is the engine of life, the moon is the poet. For as long as there have been stories, the moon has been their companion, a mirror for our emotions, a canvas for our imagination. In Chinese mythology, a goddess named Shang'er lives on the moon, forever separated from her lover on Earth. In Greek myth, the moon was Selene, a goddess who drove her silver chariot across the night sky. Poets have called the moon a lantern for the lost, a silver coin tossed into the dark, a face watching over lovers and wanderers alike. In art, its phases have been painted to symbolize life's cycles: youth, maturity, old age, and renewal. And in dreams, the moon often appears as a symbol of mystery, intuition, and hidden truths. It is both familiar and unreachable, a reminder that beauty can exist just beyond our grasp. Even in science, when we finally reached the moon in 1969, the astronauts described moments of awe that felt almost spiritual. Standing on that silent plain, looking back at the delicate blue Earth hanging in the void, they saw what no human had ever seen before: our home, small and fragile, guarded by its ancient companion. Long before written language, long before ink-touched paper, the moon was telling stories. Its changing face, from crescent to full, from full to hidden, was a drama that played out every month, a cycle that every human could witness, whether they lived in icy tundra, dense rainforest, or open desert. In Australia, Aboriginal elders told tales of the moon as a man who grows fat and round before wasting away and being reborn. In Africa, the moon was sometimes seen as a clever animal who steals light from the sun. In the Americas, the Inca believed the moon was the wife of the sun, watching over the world during his nightly absence. What's remarkable is that across every continent, people gave the moon a personality, something alive, something that sees, something that cares. It became a universal symbol, a shared point of reference for people who had never met, who lived thousands of miles apart. Even now, when an eclipse turns the moon blood red, millions of us stop what we are doing, step outside, and look up together. For all our differences, the moon reminds us that we still share the same sky. The moon may seem like a small, isolated world, just one satellite orbiting a single planet around an ordinary star. But it is, in truth, a thread that connects us to the rest of the universe. Its origin in that giant collision links our history to the chaotic birth of planetary systems everywhere. The same processes that created our moon may have shaped moons around distant exoplanets, moons we will never see with our eyes, but which may cradle alien oceans and nurture their own versions of life. The moon's cycles mirror patterns we find everywhere in the cosmos: rotations, orbits, and repeating rhythms that stretch from the smallest atom to the largest galaxies. When we study the moon, we learn about impact craters, about volcanic flows frozen in time, about the history of our own solar system. It is not just a neighbor, it is a library of cosmic memory. And perhaps most importantly, the moon teaches us that our story is not separate from the universe. It reminds us that Earth is not an isolated island, but part of a vast ocean of worlds, each with their own moons, their own tides, their own possibilities. The moon's role in our story isn't just about physics or geology. It's about possibility. When humans first looked up and wondered, The moon was the first destination our minds could imagine reaching. It wasn't an abstract star light years away. It was there, close enough to dream about, distant enough to feel impossible. In the mid-20th century, this dream crystallized into the Apollo program. For a few brief years, humans stood on another world. And when they did, something shifted in us. It wasn't only a scientific achievement, it was proof that the barrier between Earth and the cosmos was not absolute. The moon became a kind of gateway drug for curiosity, a tangible reminder that exploration is not reserved for stories, but can happen in real time, with real people, and real footprints in the dust. For those who watched in 1969, and for those who see the grainy black and white footage today, the moon is a permanent monument to what humans can do when they decide to reach beyond the familiar. The moon of the future may be very different from the moon we know today. By the end of this century, there may be permanent human settlements there, small at first, like outposts in Antarctica, but gradually growing into bustling research hubs, mining operations, or even tourist destinations. Our children's children may grow up seeing the moon not just as a light in the night sky, but as a place where family members work, where friends live, where adventures begin. And this will change us. The moon will no longer be a distant companion, but part of our daily geography, another place in the human map. Perhaps, just as ancient people timed their lives to the moon's phases, future generations will mark their calendars by launch windows, lunar festivals, and the cycle of ships arriving from Earth. In that future, the moon will still be what it has always been, a quiet guardian, a keeper of Earth's stability, but it will also be something new, our second home. And so, as the forest exhales in the cool hush of evening, the slow, invisible conversations between roots continue beneath your feet. You can almost hear them if you lean into the stillness, the low hum of exchange, the deep patience of beings that measure life not in hours or days, but in centuries. The moss, heavy with dew, clings softly to the stones. The air smells faintly of pine and something older, something that was here long before you and will be here long after you. A faint breeze threads through the branches, carrying with it the scent of distant rain, as if the sky itself has been listening to the forest's quiet speech. The leaves shiver in agreement with one another, sharing news in their own rustling language. Roots tighten their grip around the cool earth, touching and twining with unseen neighbors, passing secrets through the soil in a language without words. And in this deepening quiet, the trees begin to vanish into shadow, their outlines softening until they are more memory than shape. The world slows with them. Your own breath falls into the rhythm of the forest's breath. Somewhere, far below, a seed stirs. It will take years before it rises to greet the sky, but time does not trouble it. The forest knows all things come when they are meant to. You may leave now, but the conversation will go on, always, hidden, patient, eternal. And as you drift, perhaps you will carry with you just a fragment of that silence, a thread of the forest's secret song, one you can return to whenever the world feels too loud. Good night.